giving them the evidence, providing them, furnishing them with the evidence to act, Mr. Chidambaram. How do you look upon that statement?
Well, Mr. Gilani is the Prime Minister of that country. Ordinarily, I should not comment on a Prime Minister's statement. But with great respect, that was a very irresponsible statement. Secondly, a Prime Minister of a country has all the information that we furnish to that country. More than what we have given to them following Kassab's interrogation and evidence in court, there is now more information after Headley was arrested, Rana was arrested. I believe the Americans have shared that information with Pakistan. Therefore, it was not necessary for me to share it with them. Given that information, how can the Prime Minister of Pakistan say that he can't do anything or he won't do anything? In fact, the information that has come to us from the Americans in the last few days, which I believe is available to Pakistan also, should goad him to taking firm action, crack down on the names that have been provided to him.
Any new information? You seem to be suggesting some new information that has been provided. Is this some new information provided by India or?
No, this is information provided by the US to India and I believe by the US to Pakistan.
So it would not be wrong to assume that when Robert Gates made that comment in New Delhi, talking about that India's patience will be tested if there's another 26/11 attack, he was talking in the backdrop of some fresh information or fresh leads.
Well, I don't know whether Mr. Gates had that information. He is the Defense Secretary of the US. I don't know that. But I think he was, in a way, articulating the angst of India, although I would not have used those words, because that would lead to a diplomatic row. But I think he was articulating the angst of India.
Would you agree with this? Would you agree broadly with what he said? Because he said that if there is another attack, then a country's patience cannot be tested forever, and India's patience too will be tested. Do you broadly agree with that, Mr. Chidambaram?
No, I don't want to say whether I agree or not. All I would like to say is that we're not happy with the way Pakistan is dealing with the information available to it. In fact, they're dragging their feet. But we will continue to enhance capacity to meet any threat from Pakistan or elsewhere.
They are trying to draw a very clear line between state and non-state actors. Mr. Chidambaram, let me put it to you clearly. Tomorrow, if there were to be another attack that were to be carried out by a non-state actor, or plotted by a non-state actor on India, will India hold Pakistan and the Pakistani government responsible for any such act?
I have never believed in this distinction between state and non-state actor as far as Pakistan is concerned. And information that we have recently makes it quite clear that this so-called distinction doesn't exist. Therefore, if there is another attack emanating from Pakistan soil, I think the whole world will hold Pakistan responsible. I don't think Pakistan can get away with this charade of making a distinction between state and non-state.
That's a pretty strong statement, Mr. Chidambaram.
Well, if it emanates from Pakistan soil, take the more recent attack, the Lal Chowk incident.
Yes.
There was a handler.
Yes.
Conversations have been recorded. Can Pakistan get away by saying this is a non-state actor? Is it not Pakistan's obligation to examine who the handler was and tell us who the handler was? Where did he operate from? I mean, that's an example of a case that maybe you have in mind. It was a small incident in Lal Chowk, but from my point of view, as serious, as important as any other attack on India.
Well, a direct comment like that from P. Chidambaram deserves a direct reply from Pakistan, but this time Pakistan is ducking. We wonder why. We'll be following to see if there's any reaction that comes to Mr. Chidambaram's direct comments there. On the other side, the price of politics. Everyone's bothered about food prices, but will political parties come together? As of now, it looks difficult. We have 3 points of view on the News Hour debate in 2 minutes. Well, the one thing you learn in politics, especially in India, that when it comes to taking credit, it's individual responsibility. When it comes to blame, it's collective responsibility. Well, the BJP has reacted strongly after Sharad Pawar said he was not the only one to be blamed for commodity prices spiraling way out of control. In fact, refusing to take the sole blame, the Union Agriculture Minister said price rise is a collective responsibility. According to Pawar, both the Prime Minister as well as the Cabinet Committee on Prices and elite group are responsible for the determination of prices. Now, you would probably not care about that, nor would any of our viewers tonight, who would be concerned about whether this country will feel the effects of economic growth, especially to the middle class and the poorer sections, if the continuous price rise goes on. Which leads us straight into our News Hour debate this evening. At the bottom of this entire price rise debate, there are a few fundamental questions. Who is responsible for this price rise? Is the faulty public distribution system responsible for the price rise? Is policy the real culprit? It is, of course, the biggest challenge of 2010, but on a day when Sharad Pawar says, don't ask me alone why there's a price rise in this country, ask the other Cabinet Committee of Prices members as well. We have with us here in the studio Ravi Shankar Prasad, former Union Minister, Member of Parliament and spokesperson of the BJP, Sitaram Yechury, Member of Parliament and Politburo member of the CPIM. We have Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Member of Parliament and spokesperson of the Congress Party, and Navika Kumar, our political editor, is with me in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I want to start by asking you, before this debate opens up, which I'm sure it's going to. Dr. Singhvi, this is absurd, isn't it? Sharad Pawar, instead of giving a straight answer on the entire price rise issue, says, ask all the other members of the Cabinet Committee on Prices. Are we seeing the usual passing the buck start 10 days before such a critical meeting on price rise?
Arnab, first of all, you have to ask that question of Mr. Sharad Pawar, but let me make one thing clear. Mr. Pawar has clarified very clearly, personally also, that he was in a function at Pune at an agricultural college answering questions. The question put to him is, are you being isolated by the Congress and targeted by the Congress? He said 3 things. No, I deny it. It's a collectivity. There is an expert committee headed by one person who recommends the prices. He said the BJP is making allegations, but the people have rejected the BJP allegations both in UPA 1 and UPA 2. And he said that he is happy that prices both in UPA 1 and UPA 2 given to farmers have been much better and higher than the NDA route. There are 3 things he said, and that was a reply to a question. He was actually defending the UPA. He was not, in that sense, he was quoted out of context. No, he was not making a suo motu remark that, look, I have nothing to do with it, the cabinet has to do with it.
Dr. Singhvi, you're not, Dr. Singhvi, with all respect, you're not entirely correct, he says, and Sitaram Yechury and Ravi Shankar Prasad want to rebut you right there. He says, I am not the only person involved in the process. The Prime Minister and all of us decide the price policy. There is an experts committee to give guidelines to the cabinet which takes the final decision. So he's actually sharing the blame. Not deflecting, but sharing the blame rather than putting it the way you are putting it out there. Okay, Sitaram Yechury, first rebut to Abhishek Manu Singhvi.
Yeah, you see, there are 2 aspects. So one is actually why is the price rise taking place and why the government has been completely at sea in not being able to contain it. That is one aspect. We'll come to that later. But right now the issue is that of apportioning blame. Now each one cannot avoid taking the blame because the cabinet system functions on the basis of a collective decision. And collective decisions, and then there's individual responsibility. And individual responsibility goes to the minister who is in charge of certain departments. So now these both have to be seen together. So the fact of the matter is there's an abject failure in controlling prices. And that abject failure, this government as a whole has to take that responsibility.
Okay, Ravi Shankar Prasad, I'll come to you, Dr. Singhvi. Second rebut from Ravi Shankar Prasad to your introductory comments. Go ahead, Mr. Prasad.
Mr. Sharad Pawar is the Minister for Food, Civil Supply and Agriculture for the last 6 years. Manmohan Singh is the Prime Minister for the last 6 years nearly. And prices are rising since January 2007. Last year during UPA 2, Dr. Manmohan Singh said prices will go down within 100 days. It was his declaration. Now if Sharad Pawar says that, after all, he is a minister, individually responsible, and also collectively, the Prime Minister is responsible. And the larger question I would like to raise now is, why is it that under an economist Prime Minister, the food economy of India has been so much mismanaged? We cannot wish away the rising prices. I'll come to details separately. But the point is, there is a gross mismanagement of the food economy because of which the people of the country are suffering.
Okay, Abhishek can respond to that, and then Navika has a question to ask. Go ahead, Abhishek.
Number one, Mr. Sharad Pawar did say the sentence you quoted, Arnab. I did not deny that. He is only clarifying that he said it in response to a question, and he said much more than that. He was actually defending the UPA, not speaking in the sense it's quoted. But he did say those words. Number two, we have no problem. After all, the government as a general collectivity is responsible. Nobody is denying that. Now, I want to put 2 or 3 very quick points. I would like one critic, a trenchant democratic critic, any of them, the BJP, the left, whoever, to give a concrete suggestion of what can be done in a major way and is not being done. And you can rest assured that we will do it.
Yes.
Number two, not all of this is within the control of individuals or ministries. You know what is happening to food prices globally, and there is some effect of that. Number three, it's a mixed problem of state administration, where the central government can only exhort and push.
I'll tell you.
A state government has to take steps, very stringent steps.
Abhishek Sitaram actually wants to give concrete suggestions.
In a mandi in a city, outside the city, it is selling in 8, and in the same city, it is selling at 5x.
I'll tell you concretely what needs to be done, and this is something we have said on the floor of the House as well.
I think we are on the same page, because we are most concerned, we are most critical ourselves.
No, let me tell you concretely, Mr. Singhvi, and we have raised it in the Parliament as well. You are aware of it. That you see, there is one problem, that is the question of a supply-demand mismatch. That's a separate issue, but the prices have been rising much beyond that. Now, why? 2 concrete measures need to be done immediately if you want to contain them. One, this government had reduced, not this government, earlier government in the last days, had reduced to the tune of 73% the release of food grains to above poverty line categories in the various states. Now, this has resulted in shortages of food grains, which has led to the price rise, contributed to it. One, restore that back. Number two, today the companies which trade in food grains have reported profits to the tune of 150 to 200%. This is their returns for this year.
Are you making some charge there?
No, I'm making a very serious point which the government must implement. That is, immediately ban futures and speculative trading in food grains. Once you make that ban, then you will be able to control the prices. 2 concrete things. We've been saying this for over a year now, but nothing has happened.
Yeah. And that's really the charge, Dr. Singhvi, that has been made against this government. Every time there has been a statement from the Agriculture Minister, there are reactions in the commodity futures markets. Because if the Agriculture Minister says there are going to be shortages in sugar, people will book sugar ahead. If he talks about milk, again it created a furor. Also the question is, the buffer stock that the government really maintains is for a situation like this. Why are we not talking about that economy and food grain management?
Okay, so straight question comes your way, Dr. Singhvi, tonight. Stop futures trading.
Sir?
Stop futures trading. Would you respond directly to that, sir?
Can I answer 2 things? First of all, apropos what Navika just now said, that is the reason we have said officially from the ICC podium, I myself said, that whenever the minister points out a problem, he has to be also giving a solution and working towards a solution. We have said so very clearly. You are right, it's not a question of only pointing out the problem, but of providing a solution. 2, there has been a futures or a forward trading ban in some commodities, or a control or regulation. Now, it may not be as large or as widespread as somebody may want, but there was a Kelkar committee. Certain items have been regulated and banned, maybe not as much as somebody may want, and maybe that can be considered in the near future.
Yeah,
where you banned them, the prices were contained. Remember, when you banned them in rice and wheat, you were able to contain the prices. They did not rise the way the other prices were rising.
Okay.
So you have your own experience. Why are you not banning it for all?
Okay, Ravi Shankar.
I will just supplement to he said what needs to be done. Now in 2008 you had good sugar production. You gave export subsidy for sugar to be exported at rupees 1250 per kg. In 2009 you imported the same sugar at rupees 30 plus. You had a buffer stock which Navika talked about, buffer stock of sugar, but to win Maharashtra election, you had an artificial containment of sugar price by releasing 11 lakh ton of sugar.
So you are saying there is politics behind
when I
price
say
management.
This management, I only say this, and my point is this.
No, that's a big charge you're making,
Just a minute. If my good friend Manu is saying that Mr. Sharad Pawar must give a solution, what was the Prime Minister doing as the head of the government to tell him the course is wrong? That's what we are trying to know.
Well, he is saying constantly that look at Vietnam, look at Pakistan, look at Thailand. There's a 100% increase in the prices of rice and wheat. He says in India it's only 17%.
Just a minute.
7%.
Let us not talk about the world. One thing.
No, that's
one thing. Sharad Pawar said India is having deficient milk production. Yesterday in Patna, just a minute, Malu. Yesterday in Patna, the Dairy Federation of India has said last year the milk production of India
so what are you
3 lakh more ton.
No, what are you suggesting? Are you saying? Let me ask you squarely there, Ravi Shankar Prasad and Sitaram. Are you saying Mr. Sharad Pawar is trying to create artificial scale?
I am saying.
Are you saying that?
I am saying with full sense of responsibility that Mr. Sharad Pawar is primarily speaking the language of middlemen, so that they are benefited.
That is a very major charge.
I make my point true. Namely, he creates announcement about deficient sugar stock, about deficient milk stock, and the prices rise.
So he says it's a media creation. That all he said is that there's a difference in the demand and supply.
I have heard him say that, but I will still say, Abhishek, what was your Prime Minister doing?
Okay.
Does he have any authority or not?
Okay.
That's the real question that even the common man would want to know. Is it because Mr. Sharad Pawar belongs to a coalition party which is different from the Congress, that sometimes as the Congress party you fail to question him on time because it's a political compulsion for you?
If it was a political compulsion, as you put it, you wouldn't have had the very categorical statements, not now but for several days, which we have made. We have not been hesitant in making the view of the Congress party, for which alone I speak.
I'm speaking about the Prime Minister, Manu.
No equivocation.
I'm talking about the Prime Minister.
Number two, everybody who is a student of economics knows that in the last, from 2007 onwards, middle of 2007 onwards till now, if you chart the graph of food products, 80% of them included in the basket of foods in which prices are rising in India, the prices have risen not only 100% which Arnav mentioned, but 150% globally. In that sense, there has been an impact which India cannot escape, and the impact in India has fortunately been proportionately much, much less.
The point, Abhishek, the point is not that the other countries have had worse situations. No, that is not the issue here at all. Are we today doing what we are capable of, what is possible in our country to contain this price hike? And our contention is, these 2 points I've said, you have now announced an extra release of food grains to the states, but at what price? You've announced it virtually at the market price. That is not going to help you. You restore back that 73% cut. Why was it cut at all? You restore back that cut. You have enough food stocks. You restore back the cut. Let the states take that, and that will bring down the prices.
Can I just...
Abhishek, Abhishek,
let him respond.
Here is a government, just one second. Here is a government in a unprecedented second term with an increased enhanced majority. Do you think the only issue which is troubling us, which is price rise, we would want to give that to the opposition? At least from our perspective, we find the opposition in disarray. We have a good run, and certainly we don't want to give a price issue. Now obviously therefore there is sincerity of purpose. There is no question of us wanting prices to rise. It would be perverse to suggest that Mr. Sharad Pawar is doing this to pocket money and to increase prices and to trade in goods. This is perverse. I think there is absolutely no evidence.
I want to just add one point. No, I want to add one point.
Results are not entirely. Results are not entirely in the hands of the Congress.
Dr. Singhvi, I just want to point out to you that the figures show that despite being quoted by your government,
despite an external factor.
No, sir, Dr. Singh, with all respect, the figures show that despite being quoted by your government, the farmer gets the short end of the stick. Out of the say 22 rupees more that the customer pays for 1 kilo of sugar compared to 2 years ago, farmer takes about 10 rupees. Mills, wholesalers and retailers, sugar mills, wholesalers and retailers take about 11.5 rupees.
You're right.
So they are the ones making the money.
Arnab. That's the point. Two things.
I like to join here.
Two things. One, as far as MSP is concerned for several products, this government is proud that both UPA 1 and UPA 2 has done more for MSP by several leaps and bounds than the NDA ever dreamt of, much less did. I don't want to give you the figures. It is on rice and wheat remarkable. Number two, that's the very point you are making. The gap between other products, between the farmer and the retail outlet is so large. Why? Obviously middlemen are hoarding and speculating.
I would like to make one comment, Manu. You just said you have got the second term. You have got the second term.
Stick and less of carrot.
Yes, you have got the second term on Abhishek Manu Singhvi. If you have got second term, does it give you a license to play havoc with the life of the people? Should we close our shop? Should we stop criticizing you? Let me tell you, this is arrogance in the extreme. That's number one. Okay. And then second, only one thing. Only
argue one point.
Only one thing.
I made at all.
What Sita just said, they claim that they had the highest production of rice last year, namely 991 lakh ton. Their buffer is full. Yet they are releasing to the state government rice higher at the cost, almost at market price. The BPL is quite low, but the extra release, therefore, there is no intention to ensure that people must get rice available.
I just want to know very clearly, Abhishek, please tell us, and the whole country and the people really want to know. We've been battling with this issue for more than a year now. The prices are mercilessly rising. The 2 points that the government can do: ban immediately futures trading in forward trading in all essential commodities. Secondly, restore the quantity of food grains released to the states that have been cut to a tune of 73%. I repeat that if you restore, take these 2 steps, and believe you me, immediately you will be able to move towards containing the rise in prices. Why are you not doing it?
And Dr. Singhvi,
your buffer is full. Your buffer is full as per claim made by you.
Let him respond.
If you are, I'll tell you. First of all, let it be very clear, we don't stand on technicality, we don't stand on ego. If there are constructive suggestions and if they are found by experts to be workable, certainly both these points will be taken into account. Let's go into these points a little more carefully. There was a report, an expert committee report. They went into the issue of banning forward trading product by product. You know it very well.
Yes.
They said no, there should be no ban. It will create an artificial market and artificial constraint.
Correct.
They then recommended ban on certain items. And that was done. Now maybe what you are saying may require direct control of a greater nature now.
No,
that was not felt then.
No, just
I
a minute.
take your point. I'm not saying no, but I'm certainly saying that this is something which
because I want you to consider. I want you to consider another United Nations report now. Another United Nations report which has said 70% of the global price rise is because of
more direct controls are necessary, and more direct controls include.
Well, I'm going to say here
that direct controls.
Your viewer needs to know only one thing. When he talks of statistics, we are only talking of wholesale price index. The consumer price index is much higher. Therefore, this argument that India is having a lesser price compared to other countries may not be the right way of putting things.
Last comment, Navika. Yeah.
Also, Dr. Singhvi, in 2005 and 2006, when there was a pulses shortage in the country and prices prices were increasing, the explanation given by the government was that pulses are not grown in India and therefore import is the only alternative, and if the imported price is high, there's nothing the government can do. Now we're talking about the same phenomenon happening in products that are grown in India, whether it is wheat, whether it is sugar, all of these issues. Now here, what is the government's defense?
At the risk of repetition, this proves the point that many of these are artificial shortages. Look, there was a shortage created by certain drought period for certain regions, no doubt. So there was a shortage. But equally the shortage is not anywhere near that matching the prices. So what is the conclusion? It has to be by artificial hoarding or consumption or diversion of certain segments. Now this is really a ground level monitoring which is required by state government. Well, an important part of the policy.
I have to come in here. I have to come in here. Who fixes the export-import policy of food grain? FCI comes the government of India.
When
the whole heavy sugar is fixed by the government of India. Therefore again shifting the blame to the state government. They will do what is required to be done. The larger issue is management of food economy.
Last point. You see, all the key issues, three key issues. Who decides on the quantum to be exported and imported?
Yes.
Who decides on the release of food grains to the states? Who decides on banning of futures and forward markets? All three are decided by the central government. Well, now that is the point. That is what we are asking.
I'm only going to wrap up by saying only one thing. The government will have to ensure that the prices are back to normal. Otherwise, this whole business of economic growth will soon look meaningless to the middle class and to the poorer sections of our society. I think that's the more fundamental point. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Sitaram Yechuri and Ravi Shankar Prasad for joining me on News Hour tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before I wrap up News Hour tonight, totally out of time, want to remind you this Monday night that